Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Jazzy and welcome back to the Mixer. And today I'm going to be talking about something that I've been wanting to talk about for a very long time. And no, I've been sitting on this video for such a long time, guys. Nah, I'm kidding. I actually just thought about it a few minutes ago. Okay, actually, I'm kidding about that. I did not just conceive the idea momentarily. You know, what do you guys think? There is integrity on this channel, man. There is planning. You know, there is a lot of scripting that goes into it, you know, and I've been planning this for a long time, okay? Okay, actually, I did decide at the last minute to talk about this, so... Anyway, I'm going to be getting into the topic of sports games, okay? You guys should know at this point that I'm a big fan of sports, and I'm a sports buff, and I have not only been playing games on my Xbox, but watching different sports outside of YouTube, and it's been a lot of fun, a very good journey. I'm going to be focusing today specifically on sports games, and within that, EA Sports, you know, Electronic Arts, the sports branch that makes games like NHL, Madden, FIFA, NBA Live, you know. There was also a golf series at some point, but it freaking sucked. Rory Tour, whatever. There are a few games. I think there's Formula 1 as well. I don't know if EA is the one behind it, but I'm going to be focusing on the core sports, the ones that I personally enjoy watching and playing, you know, and talking more about that. Now, here's the thing, guys. I'm going to be trying to focus on the current sports games now in the EA lineup, you know, so I'm not going to talk too much about NBA Live because the last release was back in 2018, you know, and they have discontinued that series. You know, there's not going to be an NBA Live 20, which, I mean, if you've seen the current NBA 2Ks, you can understand why, you know, I mean, damn. So, basically, I've started to play sports games with FIFA, you know. I do believe, actually no, PES back on the PS2, but my first taste of EA was with FIFA. I do believe I started playing in 2012 with FIFA 12, you know, and since then I was able to see a much bigger world of sports that I had never been open to before as a gamer, you know, because sports simulator games, they are just that. They simulate real authentic sports experiences, you know, but I feel like lately the simulation is becoming more and more closer to reality, you know? With every console generation, the sports games obviously get much more realistic, you know? And that goes without saying for the current generation now, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S, you know? I mean, the games look freaking bonkers on them, dude. It's freaking amazing how the sports game come out, you know? Even if the launch titles weren't really too good, you know, it might take a few more so they can look a little more polished, you know? I mean, the PS4 and the Xbox One didn't even really master sports games until like a few titles in, you know? But there is a midterm where the games look amazing on last gen and also will look amazing on current gen consoles, you know? And the next gen as well. And I think that as the years go by and the sports game continue to progress, everything looks so much more realistic to the point where it's nearly absurd. Like it doesn't make sense how a video game can look so much like real life, you know? And sports to me is a much bigger deal than other games because, I mean, it's there to simulate what you see in real life. If you play a shooting game or a racing game or depending on what kind of genre you play, it's not going to be very realistic, and it's a video game. The point of it is not to be realistic. Sports games are different. The point of them is to look realistic, you know, so that's what's really impressive to me. And I have played FIFA for many years, you know. It is the one that I see the most amount of evolution in, you know, because I see every year how the game changes minimally, or after a few games there is a really big difference, you know. And the graphics always look better, the kits are updated, the players' faces look more realistic, they're always licensing more leagues, you know. How the hell PES is even still in business with FIFA, you know, looking so good, I don't know. But because I'm a big fan of the sport, I play it a lot, you know, and I see the changes, I see the evolution. I always comment on how great they look, you know, it looks really cool. The current FIFA, which is 21, I didn't play 22 yet, so I'm going to be talking about 21. To me, just looks fantastic, you know. There is nothing wrong with it at all. And I can imagine it looks even better on the next gen, you know. And the way that they implemented in the last game, the ability to play, you know, with street teams now, you know, like Volta football, futsal was really cool. So, and it looks amazing. The attention to detail is remarkable. You know, how you can celebrate goals in different ways. You know, you can score goals in so many different ways that you see in real life, you know. There's pretty much nothing that you see in real life that you can't do in FIFA, you know. It's the same thing in real life in the video game. The goal celebrations are really realistic now, how you can go celebrate with the fans, you know, or the other players, the bench, the coach, you know, different ways of scoring goals and manipulating the ball. Every year it gets harder, you know, it gets harder, but that's because it's more realistic, you know. So FIFA is a shining example of how well EA can do their craft.
Well, it's not been a great first half of football as far as he's concerned. He seemed a little bit sluggish to me, Derek. Easy for the back line to pick him up. Needs more movement. catch it perfectly, and didn't he just?
Another series by EA Sports that I think is absolute jaw-dropping amazing is NHL, you know. I started to get into hockey, you know, recently, but in terms of gameplays, you know, playing games, I started in NHL 18. You know, I downloaded it from EA Play. I played 18, then 19, then 20, and I'm currently playing 21 a lot, you know. And even though it's a very small sample size, I did still see some crazy evolution, you know, between these 4 games. And like the way that EA structures its gameplays is that every game that they release has a similar theme, an overall aesthetic and personality. You know, they look a little different, the menus and all of that, you know. So to me, it's a really good testament, you know, to how far they've come, and everything looks very similar. Now all of the games, you know, in the current 21 generation, you know, they look really similar, but the evolution is something else. You know, the menus change color, that's already a good different aesthetic, you know. Ice hockey is a very dynamic sport. You know, it's very brutal sometimes as well. It can get really rough, but in my opinion, they have captured it really well in NHL 21. It looks really just amazing, you know, and I'm still learning how to play it, but I can it's very easy to pick up and play, you know. It's not as hard as, for example, Madden, but I'm gonna get to that later. And I think that the intuitiveness of the controls, how you can kind of modify it to suit your needs, hybrid or classic, you know, you can kind of structure your own play style around that, you know. And I think that this is even more intricate than in FIFA. You know, it's almost like you can do more in NHL than in FIFA. You know, there are many more things to learn. But then again, it might just be because I'm unfamiliar with the sport, you know, so I'm still picking up on how it works, you know. So that could also be a contributing factor here. But I think it looks really cool, the amount of teams you can choose from, not just NHL but other hockey leagues as well, and the minor leagues. So it's really awesome, the attention to detail, how you can choose so many different uniforms, you know. There is a bigger variety of uniforms in NHL than in FIFA, you know. It's really cool, and you can't exactly customize them, but you can kind of choose more or less how you want them to look, you know. And there's some special ones like NHL Fights Cancer, you know. It's really awesome. And one of the things that I most pay attention to in sports games is the commentary, and it's amazing in NHL, you know. It's really cool in other games as well, but in this one it's awesome, even though it does get a little bit repetitive, you know. But there is a lot of dynamic range to it, you know. You can modify the sliders, you know, to in any sports game, you know, to change the sound of the arena, the supporters, the commentary, the music, the narrators, you know, everything. So there is a really good atmosphere. Scoring a goal in NHL 21 and hearing that buzzer going brrr, just blaring in the background, you know, while your player skates around celebrating, to me is just awesome. You know, you really you can't put a price on that, man. You really can't put a price on that. The funniest thing is the body checks, you know, how you can shove players around. There is a Be a Pro career mode, which every sports game has. I think it's pretty dynamic. I'm gonna give it a try soon. You know, I already made my player. There are a few different game modes you can play. One of the funnest ones is the mascot mode, you know, where you can play as mascots against mascots or other players. So this little 3-on-3 thing. So it has come a long way since NHL 18, which is the first one that I played in the series, you know. So everything seems much more streamlined, you know. The game runs a lot smoother now, you know. I noticed this a lot in sports titles, where everything starts to get more and more smooth as it goes on. Even though playing back on the Xbox 360, for example, it might have felt good. Every new game that comes out feels realistic for that generation, you know. But I think that the Xbox One really hit it out of the park, you know, with some of these, with some of their sports games by EA. EA gets a lot of crap for making games that are really subpar at best, you know. But I gotta be honest, man, you know, for sports fans, no matter what sports you like, I mean, I personally think it looks really cool. I personally think that the sports game now look amazing.
Takes a shot with the stop. Finds some space in the corner.
Assisted by number 12.
Drips it and whips it. He scores! They tied up. They stayed with it the entire time, Ray.
I'm tired of listening to coaches talk about, oh, we followed the process.
Okay, now the time has come to throw the old pigskin around, huh? There's a reason why I'm doing this in a specific order, you know, because FIFA is the one that I most play, NHL is the one that I'm starting to play now, and now there's also Madden, okay, Madden NFL, okay, 21, which is the current one. Why does the lighting always suck when I'm recording videos? The sun was out, now I think it went behind a cloud or something, I don't know. So excuse the possibly very crappy lighting you're about to see. Oh wait, no, it's back. Oh, okay. So anyway, Madden NFL 21 I have been playing as well, you know, pretty similarly to NHL, but I have picked up a lot quicker on hockey than American football, you know, gridiron, and it's actually really cool. It's amazing how the sport works because I've always wanted to get into it, you know, and playing video games is a really quick way, in my opinion, to understand more about how something works, so that's why I'm trying to do it, you know, and I have been understanding the fundamentals of the sport while playing Madden, you know, and it's one of the most popular ones. You know, I do believe it's one of the greatest sports franchises because a lot of people love football, you know, in the United States especially. And it is really confusing to me, but I will admit that I am enjoying learning how it works, you know. Very similar to NHL, I started playing a few games ago, but I started on Madden 19, you know. That's what was available on EA Play. So I started from Madden 19 and then I played 20 and now I'm playing 21. I got a lot of achievements, you know, so I have been learning how the game works a lot. And it's been really satisfying, you know, to get into a different sport. And even though I don't understand too much of how the game works, and I do think it's confusing at times, you can't deny the utter realism, you know. Playing a game, you know, in the Super Bowl, like for example with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the New England Patriots, you know, Tom Brady's new team, current team against his old team, you know, it's really amazing, the atmosphere, you know, the supporters going crazy, and the commentary, you know, it's really realistic. But I would go on to say that it's the most realistic commentary out of all the games that I mentioned here, but it's really hard to follow for me because I don't know how the hell the game works, you know. The attention to detail, seeing the players roll around at halftime, seeing the coaches, you know, showing the little gamepad with the strategies, you know, it's really awesome. And seeing the sponsored Gatorade bottles here and there, it's the attention to the little things, you know. And also when you get a touchdown, it's an amazing feeling, you know. You can hear the crowd riling up as you run to the end zone, and then you have a choice of doing 4 different celebrations, you know, with the directional stick, which games do have now. Sports games, you can celebrate in different ways, you know. FIFA is very dynamic with that, NHL not so much, or maybe I just don't know how to do them properly. And Madden has a few different ones as well, but it is very limited in my opinion. I think NFL 21 has very few goal celebration, touchdown celebrations, but that's beside the point. Throwing passes is actually, it used to be hard for me, but now it is pretty easy because I'm starting to understand how the game works, you know, and it is very detailed. The menu of the game plans, you know, how exactly you can plan out what you're going to do. I think it's really, really, really intricate, you know. The attention to detail in sports games nowadays is amazing, guys, you know, and it can only get better from here. Madden 19 kind of sucked in this department. You know, there were a few glitches and bugs and it didn't really handle too well. 20 was obviously a lot better, and 21 is just miles above, although there are still a few bugs. I don't know if maybe it's just the current gen, you know, or maybe the game itself doesn't run too smoothly, but I did see a lot of bugs, you know, and I still think it was a lot of fun, and how you can tackle players, and how the overall atmosphere is really, really gripping, you know. It's like you want to keep playing. There are 4 quarters and they take a long time because a lot of things happen. I don't even know how long the gameplays are going to be. I just gave a little spoiler and that I'm going to play Madden. What? You guys probably saw it coming anyway, but I don't know how I'm going to structure them because each game is really long, but you can modify the settings to make them a little shorter, which is really cool. It helps a lot, honestly, and I love it, man. I love it. I really enjoy playing it. I'm starting to watch it on TV, but unsurprisingly, I enjoy playing the game more than actually watching, because video games I can actually interact and make the calls and stuff, you know. And I'm starting to learn how the lines work, how the players run, and how you can use certain buttons on the controller, you know, to throw a specific pass to a specific player, you know, learning how to dodge and stuff and weave. So I'm starting to become a force to be reckoned with in Madden NFL. So y'all better watch out when I start playing on my channel. And it makes me think, you know, with all of these examples, just how realistic can these games get? Because everything has gotten to a point already where it just looks amazing. The career modes are fantastic, you know. You can play informal modes now on the street and stuff, you know. You can make your own player and play a career with him, make him become a legend, you know. Everything is amazing. Franchise mode, Ultimate Team, which all of the EA games have, you know, because everything is similar, like I said, across all of their games, you know. Although I don't play that too much, nor do I play online. But I'm sure if you do, people are always saying good things about Ultimate Teams and all these other modes, you know, franchises and careers, so I guess I can't complain even though I don't play them.
They're in a pretty good spot right now with a convincing lead. I think this is where they put on the boxing gloves, start to try and pound them into submission.
And the offensive line, they've controlled this game.
Another day,
and
another
they'll take
dollar.
this into the end zone for a Dolphins touchdown. An 18-yard touchdown run. And the Dolphins add on to their lead.
Is it okay if I break one of our...
Wow, the wind is really going crazy today. My God, I gotta go outside and get my towels out of there because they're hanging in the sun to dry, but they're gonna end up blowing away. You guys might be able to hear my door going back and forth here. It's because it's a little loose and the wind is blowing on it. But anyway, in summation, guys, sports games, right? I sometimes fear just how realistic they can get. Like, what else can be done at this point? Because so much has already been accomplished within this department, you know? And I mean, it's crazy. These are the only sports games that I play aside from NBA. I'm not going to talk about NBA Live here, even though it's EA property, or NBA 2K. Mostly because I already did a video some time ago reviewing both of them. You guys can just go watch that later. I want to focus on the current EA titles, and NBA Live doesn't exist anymore. So yeah. So when I think about how more realistic they can get, there are a few things that come to mind, you know. But I think it depends more on which generation of consoles you play, because every console will have better graphics and better capabilities than the last gen, you know. There are a few things that we see in FIFA and NHL and Madden in current gen consoles that we won't see, you know, on last gen, which is a pity, but I can't complain. I still love playing the current FIFAs and all the other games on my console. So yeah, they're starting to show the supporters more now with different jerseys, so that's really cool as well. It really captures the atmosphere of being in the stadium watching a game, you know, which is essentially what a sports simulator is. It's not just simulating the actual sports game itself, but the experience, you know. And depending on how you play, it really feels like you're there watching a game, you know. Maybe make the CPU play the CPU and put yourself in a certain camera that's going to make it look like you're angling it correctly, you know, you're in there in the stadium. That's really cool as well. Sometimes I like to play around with this. All of the games have they're really awesome soundtracks, really good songs, you know, different ways for you to modify the gameplay, you know, sliders if it's too hard for you or too easy. So there's all different difficulty modes, so you can give yourself more of a challenge. So to me, everything is amazing. EA might not be the best gaming company out there, but when it comes to sports, you really can't give them any crap, man. You really can't. I can't complain about their sports games, and hopefully you can't as well. But anyway, guys, I wish I could talk more about that, you know, more about the realism, but I have to go because my camera is low on battery. I saw through the mirror that there's a little red icon there, so I don't even know if I'll be able to get my outro done, but I'm going to try anyway, okay? So anyway, if you guys happen to like this video, please go ahead and give it a like. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with what I said, you know, if you play a lot of sports simulators and which ones are your favorites, you know, and why. And tell me some of your opinions about the realism, the graphics, the capabilities, the playability. Tell me more. You know, I really want to hear from you guys in this department here, okay? So yeah, and stay tuned because I'm going to be doing a lot of different sports games. If this is your first time coming here in my channel, go to my Chazzy Plays playlist. You know, you're going to see a bunch of sports games that I played, and subscribe to my channel because I will play more sports games in the future. While you're at it, go ahead and hit the notification bell to know exactly what time I upload, because it's multiple videos per day, every day, baby. Woo! So that's it. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Roll the outro screen.